Alright, I'm still learning on this whole vlogging thing, and I didn't get Saturday's video uploaded when I meant to, and then this week has just been super crazy. So I had something, oh now it's windy, I had something I could upload Wednesday, and then I have a bunch of editing to do, I think, for a video that I could upload tomorrow. Today is May 1st, but I have been going nuts doing all of that, and I don't even think I'm showing you all of it, but I'm on my way to get eggs because the chickens have laid most of their eggs. They lay maybe 6 or 8 first thing in the morning, and then I have to go back around noon and get the rest of them. Alright, I wanted to show you, hopefully it'll focus, our eggs so far. They are definitely getting bigger. Like, this is a good size. This is probably a double yolk. Some of Dad's are like literally this size, but they're not a double yolk anymore. They're just that big. They're like a goose egg. And I have pretty big hands, but that's probably a double yolk, so I'll hang on to it. And this one I'll probably hang on to because the shell is just a little gritty for some reason. They're still trying to figure out what they're doing. But for the most part, they're starting to get good sizes, and for the first time in at least a month, we've finally been able to keep up with our egg requests. And I just got another one today, so I was planning on having eggs available at our plant sale, but we might be sold out, so we'll just have to see. I forgot to mention, out of like 20 birds, I average probably about 17 eggs a day. Sometimes I'll get as many as 20, not every day, and sometimes I'll have a loss, like they'll step and crack on one or something like that. But from 20 birds, if you average 17 to 18 a day for at least 6-8 months. Dad's dropped off about 6 weeks ago, but at the time we were getting 18 to 20 eggs a day from 20 birds. So even if you factor in 18, we sell ours for currently $3 a dozen. I'm honestly starting to debate about raising it just because of the cost of feed and everything else, and because of demand. Not to be rude to our customers, but because we have to be able to feed the birds, and this is also a business. It's not just a hobby. I want the birds to pay for themselves. So 18 eggs, that it would be 1.5 dozen, so that's $4.50 a day. I forget. It takes about 16 days to go through 100 pounds of feed. 100 pounds of feed is about $35, I think. So I can't do the math right now, but we need to make sure we can pay for the feed. First of all, shavings, we do package in new egg cartons when we can, and I need to make an order actually, and I choose cartons that are on the cheaper end, but they aren't the cheapest that you can get, so that does cost something in your dozen and selling. So I just wanted to mention that if you're looking at egg production, these hybrid egg layers, which I talked about in another video, they'll produce probably close to 90% of the number of flock. So note that when you're trying to choose a breed. But this is my catastrophe. These are all plants I'm trying to get ready for our plant sale in about a week. So I need to go in the greenhouse because it's windy. But this is lettuce that I transplanted earlier, and look how awesome that looks. I'm excited about that. It has had some damage with the wind. That's more lettuce. But overall, it's looking really good. That's variegated vinca, chamomile, dill, sunflowers, marigolds, anise, there we go, anise, sage, zucchini, and squash, tomatoes, sunflowers, echinacea / purple coneflower, and this is my even bigger hot mess. I found some of these blue plastic cups, and I decided to put the hot peppers in them because I don't want anybody mistaking a sweet pepper for a hot pepper and getting a rude surprise. But here's some loofahs that are looking pretty sad, but they're doing better than they did last year. And I'm just trying to get the squash and everything transplanted, potted in their own container. And I am super scared that these plants are not going to get bigger in time for the sale, and they're going to look like this. I did watch the other night by JCT Homestead, and their question was, is bigger better? And you're looking at the stores and you get these really big plants, and I don't have one as an example. Or do you get something that's, smaller, and this isn't even quite the size that they were talking about. Actually, the smaller plants were better, and that made me feel so much better about how my plants are looking. I am so scared, guys. I am seriously scared that they're not going to be up to par for people. But the smaller plants transplant way better because there's less transplant shock. And even though they're small, they catch up. And I've noticed that with so many things so far. Like, I just posted in our event, our plant sale event and Facebook page, that if you look at this echinacea, I was waiting to transplant this because it wasn't even this big yesterday. I'm talking less than 24 hours. It went from like that. It'll focus. It went from these teeny little plants, not even hardly that big. And then it went to this. I mean, it doubled in size, no joke. So I am transplanting everything as fast as I can, even though I don't have the room. I have a 6x9 greenhouse, and I haven't even counted the number of plants I have. I don't know that I want to know, but I need to do an inventory before next weekend. But I'm getting hopeful. Stivers, thank you very much. If you ever hear this, thank you for giving me a little bit of hope that this is going to go well. Alright, so I wanted to talk about something. This tray or container, whatever you want to call it, had a lot of my zucchini squash in it in the individual cups, the little cups, and some big cups. But I had a lot of these, actually the whole thing, most had not germinated. I hadn't seen anything in it. So I thought I'd start checking on things and going through them, because I do have a bunch of zucchini at this point that I think it would be enough for our sale and for us. And I am planning on keeping some plants back for us, of course. But the popsicle sticks are what I'm calling my infirmary. They're plants that looked scary, or when I was potting things, I didn't have the heart to kill the teeny little plants. And so those are the popsicle sticks, because the cup said something else and the popsicle stick was just there for me. But the zucchini and squash cups, I didn't realize how much I was over watering. I thought if the top looked dry and the bottom of the pan was dry like this one, and everybody says, make sure they're watered and everything. But when I started going through them, I was getting mud like this. I don't know if that will show up or not. I mean, it was dripping water. And as a result, granted, some of my seeds were old, but because of that, a lot of the seeds I chucked. This is my junk bin. But I just went through them, and if they squished out white goo, let's see. Yeah. If they squished out white goo like that, they're junk. They've rotted. And part of that, like I said, was I had old seeds, but also because I was overwatering. And it's not a huge loss, but it's unfortunate. It's a learning thing. I just got to learn how to better water my plants, and I was definitely overwatering. I do worry about that top section getting too dry, because then the seeds won't germinate. I was having trouble with These are the straw flowers I was hoping to sell, and they have done almost nothing. And it's because you put them on the top, you plant them on the top of the soil, and they're supposed to germinate that way, but that did really poor for me. So I still have a lot of learning to do, but be aware of how much you're watering your plants. I mean, I was dumbfounded by how wet this soil was for them. So, just a note. Alright, May 3rd. I'm about going nuts because I am just scared that this is not going to go as well as I would hope, but I have a mess of plants and I am about to show you. Yep. That's the start of plants. I'm sure that's nowhere near as many as like a nursery. In fact, it's probably like a fraction of a percent as many as a nursery, but it's still concerning me how big and small some of these plants are, and I still have things to do, and it's just in my nature to worry about it. So I will say, the other day I was at the store and I saw some bowls of lettuce for sale, and I wasn't going to have these for sale. That's a bigger bowl, and then there's those trays. I think I've showed them before, and I wasn't really planning on selling them. I didn't know what I was going to do with them, but they look way better than the stuff I saw in the store, if I do say so myself. The things that are left in the store right now are scary. I mean, they're still full price and they need resurrected from the dead. Alright, it's May 5th, about 40 degrees and raining, and I am still stressing over this plant sale, but I had to check on the plants. I can't believe I fit all this in here again. But what can I do? It's 40 degrees, and in a couple nights, I think it's supposed to get down to 30. So I am still wigging out about what's going to happen. I've had several orders already, but my concern is that they're just not going to be ready, especially since I don't have a way to heat this, and like the peppers are not ready, so I don't know if I'll just have to give them away or what I'm gonna have to do. But I had to come in and check everything, and hopefully they'll just magically explode in the next 5 days. I think we're about 5 days away. 4 days? 4 days. Yeah, I'm kind of freaking out. Alright, it's Wednesday, May 6th. Countdown to the plant sale. I think I'm going to upload this vlog the day of the plant sale. But I unloaded the greenhouse because it's nice again. Of course, it's supposed to be like 30 degrees the next couple nights, but here is everything out of the greenhouse. Tomatoes, sunflowers, chamomile, lettuce, marigolds, vinca, squash, anise, sage, echinacea. I think that's all out here. But what I did, I'm leaving a lot of the peppers in here because they're just not ready. Like, this one is one of the first to get its true leaves, but a lot of them just are not ready, so I'm hoping the extra heat from the greenhouse will get them going a little bit. Loofahs are still going, but man, they're not nearly as fast as the squash. Some of the squash over here are looking kind of scary, but we'll see. So my quandary is that because the peppers just aren't there, I might either reduce the price or just literally give them to people, because I have a bunch, especially Sunbright. That Sunbright was really prolific for me, but they're just not the right size. Need to transplant beets, turnips again. This is a bunch of lemon balm, and what rosemary actually took, there's some lavender somewhere. I had like 2 plants of lavender. They're teeny tiny. I'm not even sure if I should charge for those either. Did manage to pot up some oregano, thyme, and some of the basil that made it. I'm going to sell those radishes. Actually, I might have 2 or 3 on orders already. Cilantro. Those are cilantro. Those are the scary cilantro. I might not put those out either. This is the red spike amaranth. Tuesday or yesterday, I uploaded a video listing probably about 1,400 plants that came out of this greenhouse. I'm just showing you some of them. There's a flat of lettuce. That's how I started the lettuce. But one variety just didn't. Let's see. The prize head didn't really germinate. But if you're interested in how I did that intensive sowing, let me know. I can do a video, I think. If not, check out Charles Dowding. That's pretty much what I followed. This dill is not very big, but I have some dill outside that is. This is my spearmint or lack thereof. I need to figure out what to do about that. But, yeah. This is what we got going on. These lettuce boxes, I love them. Actually, I think I sold out already from orders, but I might transplant some from the garden because I don't think we'll eat as much as I have in the garden, and I don't think it's enough to sell, but I'm not sure. We'll just have to see how things go. This is the sage. That's looking pretty good. Granted, a lot of this isn't as big as what's in the grocery stores, but, you know, I'm pretty happy with most of it. I'm not very happy with the peppers. The tomatoes are starting to get there. But the squash is looking good. I got to go through and pick off some of the cotyledon leaves, I think. Just go through and give everything a good check over. And got some more stuff to pot up, but I have a lot of things to get done again today, and gotta get doing them. Raisin, get the squirrels. Look what the squirrels did to my flower pot. I just planted this the other day. Probably digging for the nuts that they thought were in there. They destroyed it. Ooh. Between the rabbits and the bunnies, you got your work cut out for you. I don't think she cares. Of course, today is super windy, but I think we're kind of shielded right here by the garage. It is May 9th, Friday, and tomorrow is the plant sale. So I'm just getting a few more things ready. And one of which is I got a new hose. I splurged. I have a really hard time paying that kind of money for garden hoses, but ours are kind of shot. However, this older hose is decent enough that I'm keeping it because I need the length right now. But every time I turn it on, it squirts like a geyser. So for those that don't know, you can go to a farm store. I checked Walmart and they didn't have it. You could probably get it off of Amazon or Ace Hardware. You can get a pack of 10 hose gaskets for, like, I think it was $2.50 plus tax ish, and you just unscrew your hose. They're a standard size because they all connect together, so they better be a standard size, and you just kind of shove it in there, and they created a little gap between the threads and the bottom of the hose. Oh, there's Raisin. Don't knock over my camera. Come here. They created kind of a gap in the hose anyway. So you just shove it in there, screw it back together, and hopefully it doesn't spray everywhere because I need the hose here tomorrow for plants. I got to pull the plants out. Dad helped me put them on a hay rack and kind of organize them. Got to pull them out with a lawnmower and get them over here so we can batch orders. I'm hoping to just do a vlog upload tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, and then next week I'll have a couple of videos about how to set up a plant sale
And even though it's my first plant sale, it's not my first time organizing an event, and I've learned a lot from organizing other events. And then I might have one separate one for how to have a plant sale. And hopefully tomorrow I'll get some footage of things set up and maybe people shopping. And we do have to watch out because of the social distancing thing, but we are pretty rural. We've had very low case count, and I think people are just ready to get out, plant their garden, and they are safe here. So I gotta get working. Well, I didn't get a lot of filming done today because I was just too busy, and I apologize, but I will try to do a better video about how I set up for the plant sale and then some recommendations that I've learned through the art of hosting events. But this is a chalkboard sign that I made in a previous video, and I found a chalkboard marker. We'll see how it comes off after the event. It is a bit like writing, as if nails on chalkboard sound when you're writing with it. This is the marker. It was a little rough, and it was kind of hard to use because it took so long to get the chalk stuff down into the tip. It's not going to surprise me if this marker thing doesn't last me very long, but we'll see. And maybe I just need to get a wider tip next time. Anyway, I gotta close up for the night for video purposes because I gotta get you edited, and wish me luck. I have a bunch of pre-orders done over here with their totals, and I hope people like the plants. I'm still kind of freaking out about the growth of some of these things, but I'm hoping I priced them low enough that people will understand. And I did a couple deals on things to make sure that because they aren't as long as I would like, you know, they're getting a good bargain. Plus, the next few days are just, they're going to be cold anyway, so they're going to need to kind of keep them safe for a few days and nights before they can really just leave them out in the garden. They're pretty well hardened off for above 40 degrees, but like today it was windy, it was chilly, and they're a little stressed from that, but I needed to get them out in the sun, and I need to go through everything. So here's fingers crossed tomorrow will go well. Be sure you check us out at JCTRusticHomestead.com as well as our Facebook page. I might be looking at doing a fall event or something. I have a couple ideas in my head, so if you're one of the people that enjoyed this one, please give me feedback as to what you liked, what you'd like to see next year, and maybe something else in the future. But we'll catch y'all later. Have a good night.